Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to my channel. I'm Blue, and today we're going to be starting um, a new series that's hopefully going to be running for a while. Um, Blue and Spencer versus the MCU, where me and my co-host Spencer from the Dingus Den say hello.
Hello, everybody. Good to be here.
Yeah. So we're going to be going down to the full MCU. We're going to watch every movie, and then we're going to talk shit about every single one, obviously. I'm not. I actually like
Yeah,
most MCU movies. I know you're a lot more
yeah.
critical of it than me, especially
We'll get into it.
the newer ones. Once we get there, we'll get there. But
It'll be a while.
yeah, we have a few movies to get through. But
Just a few.
yeah, so this is gonna be a new series. Um, Obviously, you can find me here on my channel. But for Spencer, if you want to see more of him, he does a lot more of this like comic booky stuff on his channel, the Dingus Den.
Yes, I
Yeah, that's what
do.
it's on. That's on YouTube and Twitch, right?
I don't do Twitch.
Okay,
Maybe someday, but
that's Red
just
Shirts,
YouTube.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
Go check out the Red
Joint
Shirts
channel I
too.
do.
That's you,
But yeah,
Chris, and Patrick,
as well as Geo.
and Geo. Yeah, they also do some.
We
They
do
do
all
some pretty
sorts of
good
other
stuff.
stuff,
They're kind of a hodgepodge of content. Um,
essentially.
Go check them out. Go check out Spencer at the Dingus Den. He actually just celebrated 100 subs last night. I was there. It was a
Yes,
good
I
time.
did.
Uh,
It was a great time.
so go give him your support. Uh, Subscribe to me, and with that self promotion out of the way, Iron Man. If you couldn't tell, that's what we're talking about. That's the first movie
Exactly.
of the entire MCU, and it's a good one. I This is my first time watching Iron Man in probably a few years. Apparently, when I like went on my Disney Plus, it said like I had watched it completely at some point. I have no idea when, but as far as I remember, this is my first time watching Iron Man in years. Um, what about you?
I think last I rewatched it was a couple of years ago because I was gonna do something kind of similar where I know later on we're wanting to rank these. And so I did for a bit with one of my friends. I was doing a ranking thing and we made it through phase one. I don't think we ever got to phase two. And so I think that was the last time I watched the first Iron Man.
Huh? Yeah. I mean, these things happen. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, so I'm gonna do a brief. I say brief, but I have a bad feeling we're gonna end up on some tangents. I'm gonna do a recap of the movie. If I miss anything that you find important, feel free to interrupt me.
Oh, you're all good.
Okay, so starts off with Tony Stark in the desert. He's got his swagger, his charm. He's hanging out with these soldier guys, and then they're attacked. Um, Tony ducks for cover, and a missile is shot right next to him with Stark Industries painted on the side. He is kidnapped by a terrorist organization, and then we cut to like 3 weeks earlier. Um, Tony had just won, what was it called? An Apogee Award?
Something
Apogee,
like that.
Apogee Award. I'm Googling this. Yeah, it looks like it.
Go.
Look, he inherits an award, or he gets an award
Yeah.
for, uh, you know, science stuff. I don't know. Um, so he got this award for his company, Stark Industries, which is a weapons manufacturer at the time of the movie's start. Also, directly after seeing Tony, I forgot to mention this. We see like a slideshow talking about, oh, he's a genius, he's a prodigy. Directly after we just watched him get blown up with his own missile. So you know, I thought it was ironic. Uh,
The one and only Tony Stark.
Yeah. So we get that he encounters like a some sort of reporter. They, you know, it's a movie from the 2000s. Obviously, they have sex. I don't know. I one of the things I don't know. Um, One thing I definitely noticed is that this movie, as with many projects in the early MCU, it's definitely a product of the time it's from. Like this movie would have been way different if it came out this year. Like
Yeah.
there's a
I
lot
mean, yeah, in some aspects, but I don't know.
there's a lot of very drawn out sequences. Like we'll get there, but there's a lot of sequences that just go on for arguably longer than they should have.
We'll get to that.
Anyway, so we see him win this award. We see him run off with some reporter. The next day, he is meant to fly out. Oh, what's happened? You can still hear me?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, sorry, my audio was acting up for a second. So he is meant to demonstrate a new Jericho missile, which is a missile that is built with repulsor technology. He does the presentation. It goes off without a hitch. He talks about, peace in our time, having yada yada yada. Um, and then he gets attacked, obviously. We cut to Tony in a cave with a man called Yinsen over, I think it said, like 3 weeks, 3 months.
I
Um,
think it was a matter of weeks. I could be wrong though.
I think it was months. I want to say it was months. Um,
Uh,
Google. How long was Tony Stark in the cave? 3 months.
oh, okay.
Uh,
There you go.
yeah. So over these 3 months, they bond, they become close, and also during this time, Tony, who is being forced to rebuild the Jericho for this terrorist organization, which is called the Ten Rings, but knowing what we know about what comes further in the MCU, I I do not respect their authority as the Ten Rings. Um, so this terrorist organization is forcing him to build the Jericho missile he just showed off, and instead he builds armor. Obviously, it's Iron Man. We all saw this coming. Um, During his escape with the armor, Yinsen is killed, which sets Tony off. He flamethrowers some terrorists. You know, normal 2000s movie shit. And he escapes. He launches himself into the sky and is found by the military. One thing I wanted to notice that I found, I was an English student. My semester of college was spent as an English major. One thing I found interesting is that the thing that saves his life isn't necessarily a weapon, it's a suit of armor, which, you hear armor, you don't immediately think weapon. I thought it was interesting that someone that, like, world renowned for being a weapons manufacturer, the only thing that could save him was armor, which is thought to be the exact opposite of a weapon. Um,
that, that is an interesting. I don't want to say parallel, but like kind of the opposite of that, right? Because
Correlation. I mean, it's an
correlation.
interesting,
Yeah.
it's irony in some ways. You don't expect it to be armor. You expect it to be, a big gun. I mean, you don't. You're watching Iron Man. You're not here for Rambo. But, if you're like a citizen of the Marvel universe and you hear that he saved himself with an armor, you'd go, "Oh, he's a weapons manufacturer." Ah, no, no, that's definitely the English major in me overthinking it. But it is an interesting thing to think about. Um. Anyway, so he gets back to the old US of A, gets a cheeseburger, which I get that. I'd also ask for a cheeseburger.
Most important part of the movie, right there.
Oh, honestly. He also calls for a press conference, which shocks everyone somehow. But like, if I ran a business of this caliber, then disappeared for 3 months, I'd also want to be like, hey, I'd want to prove I'm alive, you know?
Yeah.
Um, so
Yeah.
he calls a press conference and announces that they are going to cease weapons manufacturing, which sets everyone off. Everyone thinks he's going crazy. Um, uh, Obadiah Stane, who is uh, his dad's friend, business partner, whatever, some old guy who is the bad guy in this movie. Spoilers for a decades old movie. Um, so Obadiah Stane is like, hey, maybe let's not do that. That's a bad idea, you know? This is a weapons manufacturing company. We manufacture weapons. We can't just stop. Like, what are we gonna make? I think what he actually said is, what are we gonna make now? Baby bottles? Um, but Tony is like
Yeah. That's funny.
insistent, and it ends with Stain saying like, okay, lay low, come on, just don't give it some time to simmer. And Tony's like, okay, whatever. Um, he goes and basically secludes himself in his $10 billion mansion, um, and he starts to refine his armor, making it more streamlined, able to fly, all that. During this process, he upgrades. Oh, I forgot to mention, he puts a arc reactor in his chest to keep the shrapnel out. Everyone knows that. I don't know why. But
Yes.
then during this time, he also upgrades it and gives the backup to Pepper, who um, would later go on to put it in the glass case, proof that Tony Stark has a heart. Oh, Uh, but he upgrades it. It's a really gross scene, like when she's like sticking her hand in his chest, and it was just
I've
gross.
always been amazed on how in the world they did that. And I think watching it this time, I may
No,
have
they
finally figured
actually
out how they did it.
no
So,
they actually put shrapnel in Robert Downey Jr.'s chest.
all right, and then they just cut out like the chest there, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, obviously.
Yeah, they locked Robert Downey Jr. in a cave for 3 months and forced him to build missiles.
Yep.
You don't remember
Yep.
that? That's so
Exactly what
stupid.
happened.
2008 was a crazy time, man. Anyway, how did they do that? I want to hear your thoughts on this actually.
I could be wrong, but I would looking at the like shoulder going to like the chest. It kind of seems like as if there's something there. Like I don't know if it was like CG there, or if they did like use part of like a body double thing. But it seemed like as if there's a disconnect there to where like somehow I feel like Robert Downey was maybe like more upright, and then they did something
And they just put a
extra for
fake
like
body.
a fake body or CG part of it or something. Um,
Hmm.
so
Maybe. I mean, I could see that. CGI wasn't like super advanced at the time, so I could see them doing something like that. I feel like it would just be
I don't know. It's very
because
interesting.
they did have his head at the angle of the body, so that would mean he was like, oh, but it
Go
is
back and look. Like if you go back and look at it, you can. I don't know. I could be completely wrong, but like
it could be.
it I don't know. It's always fascinated me though, because it's like there's obviously something going on there because of how deep
She's
Pepper's
able to
hand
get her
goes in,
hand in there.
right? And
My theory is that they
and
actually
yeah,
just. My theory is that they actually just cut open his chest, and
right. Obviously,
obviously,
definitely what happened. Anyway,
I doubt it. Anyway, so um, Pepper, yeah, I just didn't like that scene. It was gross. Anyway, so later Tony goes to his own function. It was like the some kind of like firefighter charity, and he was just not invited. And I find that really funny that like Stain or someone went, oh, dude, let's just not tell him. I mean, we've done this. I think they say like this is the third year that they've done it. It's like let's just not tell Tony this time. I mean, he's paying for it, but let's just not invite him. He doesn't need to be here. And then he shows up anyway,
yeah.
obviously. because that's fucking Tony Stark. And during this, the reporter from earlier comes to Tony and is like, "Hey, your weapons were used to destroy this village, Golmira," which I didn't mention this, but Golmira was the village that Jensen was from, and he was like, when and it was used, it was destroyed using his missiles, and so he's like, when was this taken? It was yesterday, so someone is still sending missiles out there. Tony goes to confront uh Stain, who's like, yeah, I'm trying to get you locked out of your own company because I want to sell missiles. And Stark
Well,
and
yeah.
Tony is like, well, that's bullshit. I don't like that. And so he goes to Afghanistan and goes and helps the people that were harmed in the Gomera attacks. And while flying back, he is attacked by two jets, like military jets, and he tells Rhodey, um, like, "Hey, that's me. Maybe don't shoot me down." And uh, so they don't shoot him down. Um, Meanwhile, throughout this entire movie, we keep seeing scenes of like the or the terrorists. I refuse to call them the ten rings. The terrorists, the bad guys from earlier, the cave people, have been collecting the remnants of Tony's armor that he used to escape because he like did shit.
hmm
And then it's revealed that Stain hired the terrorists to kidnap Tony so that he could have Stark Industries because money. I
But he's
yeah,
a bitch. He'll do that.
I hate it when my dad's friend betrays me and tries to steal my company. Happens to me twice a week. Just today on my way to record, when my dad's friend showed up and was like, "Hey, go to Afghanistan and get kidnapped." I was like, "I don't want to." That's a true story. Anyway, so Stain ends up killing them all, the terrorists. Then he builds his own suit, because he wanted to. I guess I don't know. Like
Yeah.
it felt very strange. Um,
I've just viewed it as is
I mean,
he's
it's a comic book movie. You don't really got to go with logic, but like it's just
well, well, think about it. The whole thing that Stain's doing is he's trying to take over Stark's company, right?
yeah,
And he knows Stark is doing the right things, and
with the
Stain
suit.
was very much focused on, or no, that's not what I'm going to say. He was very much fascinated by the fact of how Tony was able to escape from this cave,
Yeah, I
and
mean, really, he
I
wanted
think
the
part
suit
of
for money. He wanted to be able to weaponize it and sell it to the military or whoever
well
will pay
that
him.
and I think part of it too is that he was also just is that he wanted to follow in Stark's footsteps because of how much of a genius he is.
Yeah, Castaigne is obviously not on the same level as like
He's more of
Howard
a
and Tony.
businessman.
He's a businessman over
He's the evil businessman that wants all the money.
yeah. I mean, I get it, but it's just like, if you don't know how to use the suit, maybe don't build the suit. You're not Tony Stark, because Tony Stark was able to build this in a cave with a box of scraps, and your scientists, the people that you're paying to do this, couldn't. So maybe don't.
Just maybe don't. I mean, there's a difference between able to build something and being able to use it, though.
I mean,
So
yeah, but also they were barely able to use it. So maybe let's all just calm down.
now, if he was able to use it, well, that's debatable.
We're gonna get to that part. Anyway, so Stain builds a big ass suit. It's much bigger. It's the Ironmonger suit. Which, okay, another unnecessary side tangent. Earlier in the movie, Stain refers to not just Stark and Stain, but like the company as Ironmongers, which are people that I just looked it up. People that deal in iron and hardware. Somebody that works in these things.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily associated with weapons, and so I found that very indicative of Stain's character. That his immediate thought of someone that deals in hardware is weapons. He's very war minded. Um, and obviously, this is reflected in the fact that technically in the comics, Obadiah Stane is Ironmonger. It's just interesting to me that he can take a word that has nothing to do with combat or war or anything like that and turn it into we are people that deal in weapons. I think that just says a lot about his character. Um, I don't know.
Yeah.
Again, I'm a huge fucking dork when it comes to shit like this. So,
No, you're
it's
absolutely right though when it comes to that.
no, I know. Anyway, so no, you don't got to tell me I'm right. I know. Anyway, okay, so later Tony is like, okay, I want to figure out what's going on with these weapons getting out to the terrorists. So he sends Potts to hack into the database and get the information. Um, Pepper discovers everything, obviously. Um, and when Stain like walks in on her trying to see all this information, they have a little back and forth. I actually skipped through those parts. Um, they have a little back and forth. That's all that's important. It doesn't matter what's said. The point is that Stain is on to her. She leaves. He checks and is like, "Ah, oh, shit, she took the data." And I think I DM'd you about this while I was watching the movie. It's really funny that he does this motion like you would do if you were slicking back your hair. And obviously it's like an oh my god, I can't believe this happened. But it's just really funny because this bald guy's just like, oh fuck, swipes back nothing. I find that really funny. I'm easily amused. Um,
I can tell.
I mean, yeah, I watch Marvel movies.
Oh, wow.
Anyway, so directly after this, she walks out and meets with Agent Phil Coulson, who it's crazy that he's just in the first movie. Like I didn't know that. I knew he was in the second movie, but like it was weird seeing him. It was like even from the first movie they had plans, and knowing what we do in the year 2024, it's pretty interesting to see that they knew that this is what they were building to. Because movies weren't like that in 2008. There wasn't really massive
Yeah.
franchises. It was just, does this movie do good? Okay, let's make another. Like there were franchises, but there weren't like drawn out, planned out franchises like this. I think I think I
Yeah, I'd
could name
say
one.
most that I'd say
And
the most that's usually planned out is like a trilogy. Other than that, you
yeah,
don't
yeah.
usually get much.
And it's just I thought it was interesting. I thought it looking back, I think you learn a lot watching the older movies. But anyway,
Yeah, it's
so
very interesting.
she goes and tells Coulson, tattles the shield that Stain's being a bitch. Not in so many words, obviously, but um, so we continue watching Stain's shenanigans. He goes to the arc reactor, which is like really big, and he talks to a scientist and is like, and the scientist is like, "Hey, I can't make this smaller. I like this is what I was saying. Like he's like, I don't fucking know how to do this, man." And we have that classic Tony Stark was able to build this in a cave with a box of his
Right.
crafts. Um, get that classic scene, probably one of the best scenes, at least in early MCU to me. Like that's such a weird one, but it really he really felt like he was angry, not just it didn't feel like acting. It felt like Jeff Bridges was mad at this guy for not being able to build the Iron Man suit. Like
I don't know how Jeff Bridges actually is, so I don't know.
Do you think Jeff Bridges wanted the Iron Man suit?
Who wouldn't want an Iron Man suit?
I think I'd take an Iron Man suit. Maybe not the Mark One, but I'd take an Iron Man suit.
Uh,
What's your favorite
I'd
Iron
take
Man
any.
suit? I mean,
Oh,
obviously,
favorite?
obviously, when it comes to Iron Man suits, beggars can't be choosers. But like, I feel like there's better armors out there.
Listen, if the opportunity just came out and be like, "Hey, you want this big, hulky, bulky, or this,
Yeah, if someone
if
came
this
up to
big,
you and
bulky
was like,
armor,"
"Hey,
I'd
you
be
want
like,
this?"
"Yeah, sure, I'll take it."
I mean, yeah, if someone comes to me on the street and goes, "Hey, you want this Iron Man armor?" I'm not gonna be like, "Come back to me when it comes in green." Like, that's not how any of that works, obviously. But if they're like, "Hey, what's your favorite Iron Man suit?" I actually do have a favorite. Just for my own self
And
gratification,
that
I
is,
I looked up I like a list of Iron Man suits. It's the Apogee suit from the Marvel Avengers game. I just sent it to you.
um, like the Square Enix game, yeah.
Yeah, hold on. Yeah, I can put it on screen. Hold
Oh, okay, interesting.
on. There's a lot of good
Yeah.
suits in the Avengers game. Say what you will about Marvel's
Um,
Avengers. Um, I
they
really like it. This
had
is
some cool callbacks.
I really enjoyed it. I thought it was super fun. I think it certainly is an Avengers game. Like, there's no doubting that it does well on what it sets out to do. I just put it on
Um,
screen. It's this one.
I think for me, there's two that kind of come to mind, and it's they battle each other for different reasons. You either get like the final suit of this movie just because it's like the classic, what you think
So
of
the
Iron
the,
Man
the Mark
as.
II.
Yeah.
Hold on, I'm like trying to. Oh, actually, it'd be the Mark III because the Mark II is the gray one.
Right. Yes. As I
Okay.
say, I didn't. Mark two didn't sound right because that's the first initial test one where he does that one whole flying sequence.
Yeah,
Um, but
this one.
the other one is I don't remember what number it is. I know it's like 50 something, I believe.
What movie is it from?
The one in Infinity War.
Oh, um, hold on.
It's kind of funny looking back at it because it's kind of like this is kind of like a mishmash Iron Man and Blue Beetle almost, and that's what that suit is kind of
Whoa,
because it
whoa.
could do all this wild stuff.
Oh my god, I'm like I'm scrolling down this the Mark L.
Mark
Oh,
L.
hold on. I'm gonna send it to you. Is it this one?
I think so.
Yeah, I think I actually I kind of like that one too. I'm not gonna lie to you. That's a good one. Probably not one of my favorites, but it certainly is an Iron Man suit. You know what? I do see the Blue Beetle now. I see it. I think it's because it's
Well, the
organic.
whole idea is, well, yeah, that's the whole thing. It's like
Is
it's
it
a
is it
whole
looks
organic idea that I
organic?
wonder if it's uh, taken from Blue Beetle in ways. I feel like
Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. Random side tangent.
I don't know when the comics did it. I don't know. I'll say with as much of a comic geek I call myself sometimes, I don't know that much of like Iron Man in the comics because I
Okay.
find him to be a very bland character in the comics.
Oh yeah. That's again an unnecessary side tangent. While I look for my favorite MCU armor, I it's weird to think that the reason um Iron Man is so popular is because of the movies. Same with
Yeah,
the Guardians
100%,
of the Galaxy. They were not
100%.
big names. They were, if you were said if I brought up, yeah, Star Lord from Marvel, somebody would be
Nobody
like,
knew
they'd go,
who
hey,
they
fuck off, nerd.
were. No one knew who Guardians were. Pretty much,
Yeah,
they're very so obscure. And even Avengers were kind of like the B team because the big two teams prior is Fantastic Four and X Men, and we've had
yeah,
good X Men movies prior, but
yeah.
we still have yet to get like an actually really good Fantastic Four movie, and
Yeah, this
If
is
that'll ever see the light of day, I don't know.
this is my favorite MCU suit because it's very reminiscent of the Mark 42 from the comics, which I've always liked. I think the black and gold is slick. Yeah, Model 42.
Which story arc did that really mainly come into play in?
I think all new, all different.
Okay.
Dude, I don't know. I don't read Iron Man comics either.
Okay.
I don't like him as a character in the comics
Fair
either.
enough.
So anyway, so I have no idea what sparked this conversation about armors.
You're talking about the big bulky armor, and because there's a tangent off of Obadiah Stane winning the armor.
Oh yeah, yeah. Anyway, um, so so he gets mad at the scientists that they can't make an arc reactor. Um, so Stain, the well-adjusted normal person he is, goes to Stark's house and just takes the one out of his chest. Um, Tony manages to the and not really a Deus Machina, but like an ooh, this all led up to each other. He's able to get the one from the glass box of the proof that Tony Stark has a heart, and he's able to use
Yep.
that one. Um, and using that one, he's able to don his Iron Man armor and fight Stain. Obviously, he wins because we have a decade and a half more MCU to get through.
No way.
I think I can't take like a quarter of the fight seriously because the scene where they're like flying up and Iron Man is like, "How'd you fix the icing problem?" Stane's like, "What?" And then he hits him on the head to knock him back down. I can't take
Bonk.
anything after that seriously because I saw a video once of that scene, except when Tony hits him on the head, it goes bonk, like the cartoon bonk sound effect. And that's all I could think about for the rest of that fight scene is Tony just going bonk.
That's
Um,
funny.
but it's a good fight scene. I mean, for what it is, I really like how this movie looks. Like obviously a lot of the cave scenes were very dark, which I'm not a fan of in movies. I like more visually saturated movies, but um, I mean it's a fucking movie. I don't give a shit. I'm not gonna cry over it. I'm not a MCU fan. Uh, that was messed up.
It's
Um,
it's very much, you can tell it's a very much in that era of early 2000 movies.
Late two
Uh,
thousands.
Late 2000s. I mean, still in the
It's
2000s
yeah.
though, but
It's in the O's.
it's
But
in
yeah,
the O's. But you
I
can very
mean
much tell it's from that era, and
it
I,
doesn't
I
look.
think visually it still holds up pretty well
It
overall.
does. It's not like phenomenal, but it's not like terrible. Like
I think it holds up good.
you can definitely take yourself out of it being a movie and just be like, damn, that's a man in a suit of armor. That's awesome. At
It's a
the end of the
man
day,
in a suit of armor.
at the end of the day, why do we watch Iron Man if not just to go, oh man, I wish I could do that. Anyway, so
It'd
they
be pretty
fight,
cool.
they blow up the big ass arc reactor. It launches a fucking Minecraft beacon into the sky, kills Stain, yada yada yada. Then Tony, obviously everyone knows this scene. He does a press conference. He's like, "Oh, I wasn't there. Just kidding. I was. I'm Iron Man." And then that's the end of the movie. Everyone's seen that. I don't need
Mm.
to.
Is it really the end though? Because we got the first thing though. The first famous in credit scene after.
I that is fair. This is um what okay, what's the word? After credit scenes weren't really like
A thing, at
a
least not
thing.
widely, right? Like I think they've happened rarely, but it's not widespread
It
like
wasn't
they
like
are
a
today
thing
with
that
these big
happened
franchise.
often. Yeah.
Right.
But it also it set up the next movies.
Yeah, yeah.
Which
Such
again
an
was kind
iconic
of
scene.
new. Um
Yeah.
it was a big thing. The after credit
For any
scene is
comic
just,
fan, it was huge.
oh yeah, for comic fan, for annoying people that you didn't want to hang out with in high school, it was massive.
Me.
So us.
Anyway.
Anyway, so the end credit scene is just Nick Fury going, uh, uh, "You're not the only one," setting up the Avengers. It's nothing
Right.
huge. It's not like, setting up fucking Blade or anything. I don't know why was my example Eternals? That's so out
Well,
of left
I
field.
mean, I think for its time though is massive because we've never seen a lead up to this caliber, and there's
Yeah,
many. I think that's what makes Avengers, the first Avengers, special.
yeah. I mean, yeah, no, I get that. I agree. Um, I do like the Avengers. I'm pretty excited to talk about that one. Uh, but we have a couple to get through,
A few.
a few.
So,
But yeah, so that's the recap. It totally it was very brief, very brief.
so okay, this movie, this, I personally, for me, uh, this is like overall MCU. I don't know exactly where, but like it's easily a top 10 for me.
Yeah,
It's
top
it's
10?
it's special to me for a few reasons because like it was the first MCU movie I watched, um, and I grew up watching it a good bit,
Okay.
and so I watched it a lot. But then too, even just when revisiting it, you also something this movie does that I feel like a lot of the later MCU movies doesn't do nearly as well of, if at all, is making you care for the characters, making you care for Tony Stark, right? And this
Yeah,
movie is a great foundation for making you care about this character of Iron Man that we get in so many more movies.
yeah.
And in addition to that, you take this character that a lot of people kind of don't care for that much in the comics, I
And
guess, because
even
like I said,
don't
he's I
know,
don't know, or
don't
even then,
care
like he's
about.
quite different in the comics. Like
Oh yeah, definitely.
I and they make him this very charismatic person
They make
that
him someone that you would care
just
about.
yeah, and I think it's fantastic of what how the MCU does a great sometimes the MCU can do a great job of making something their own while still
Yeah.
keeping the core idea of the character. Because the
Um,
core idea of Iron Man is still the same.
the
They just do a
guy,
better execution of it, especially for the movies.
and I mean, it also helps that RDJ is just a wonderful actor. Hell of a guy.
Yeah,
Um,
this movie really did help shape his acting career. So
yeah, because
that
then
was
he
awesome.
got, 10 years of being the same character.
10 years of being the same character, and uh, he was talking about how it was hard for him to break out of that recently.
Yeah. Nah, yeah, I wholeheartedly like, because he was in Oppenheimer too, and he was great in that one.
Yes, yes,
But anyway, yeah, no, they definitely make you care, and it helps that Robert Downey Jr. is just so good at what he does. He really was made to be Iron Man. I don't think I could see anybody else being Iron Man.
yeah, I
Um,
agree. He's fantastic. Like he made the character to
what it
what
is today.
people love him, and so
Yeah, because
yeah, it's
it went
fantastic.
from like in 2007, not a there was probably like two Iron Man fans, and then in 2019, you have the entire world, crying because he had this whole, because we got to Endgame, and I mean it
Yeah,
really, but it all starts here.
yep,
Um, but yeah, I
very
definitely
true.
think I wouldn't say it's one of my top 10. That's very
Hmm.
what's the word? Not presumptuous. That's generous to me.
So the other thing about this for me as well is
It's
it's
the one you like started off with.
it's what you start off with. It's also, I think, it's what set the standard, I feel like. And I think this set the
Is it?
standard for not just the MCU, but the comic book movie genre in general to really set off how a origin story is told.
Yeah.
Um, and of course, like a few years before we got Batman Begins, but it didn't feel anything like this. Or
No,
even the
but
first
I
Superman movie
mean,
or anything like. Those are all great for their own separate reasons. But this is what set up how origin stories are told.
well,
That
you
MCU
also,
just repeated on and on and on, and even we see other franchises trying to do it as well. And uh,
yeah.
I think it just does it best. Um,
To use your example of Batman Begins, that was a complete. I will say that is a completely separate ball game. I mean, Iron Man and Batman, no matter how similar people say they are, those are two separate characters. Obviously, it's going to be handled in two completely separate ways. No, 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 not to
yeah, I
discount the
mean,
point. The point is that it 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 was something new. It was a new way of telling these stories. I'm just like Batman Begins and Iron Man are in a lot of ways incomparable. Like it's like comparing apples to Iron Man, you
Post
know,
Iron Man.
which is something that you can't do. I've tried.
They're both red.
Oh
I
shit.
don't got nothing else.
Not always. Some apples are green. Oh wait,
Uh,
that doesn't
so
help.
are some
Sometimes
Iron Man
Iron Man
suits.
is
All
okay. Hold on.
right.
Maybe apples from Iron Man isn't the best metaphor.
Uh,
That's like comparing Iron Man to Batman. No, because that also really doesn't work.
all right. Anyway,
Anyway, what I'm getting at is they're two completely separate
different.
genres of superhero,
Yeah.
and so it makes sense that they wouldn't be the same. But I do get that the point is that Iron Man, uh, it changed the game because we had superhero origins before. My first thought was Spider Man, the Tobey Maguire one.
You're right. Yeah.
That is it told the origin in its own way, with its it was only it only became indicative of that trilogy after the whole trilogy came out, but it told it with charm. And um I'd say that Iron Man doesn't have charm in the same way because Spider-Man and Iron Man, especially these iterations, are completely different. What I'm getting at is like Iron Man, it does it with this sense of bravado. It does it with this sense of grandness and epic like story. I'm not making any sense. I'm just saying shit. You get what I mean. It tells the
Yeah.
story with something more, and I think that's what sets it apart from like like Batman Beyond, or not Batman Beyond, Batman Begins. Batman
Uh,
Begins, it kicks off with the sense of beginnings, which obviously it is a beginning, but it sets it up like this is just the beginning. Whereas Iron Man, it was all in on this story and making you care about this story and this man rather than the bigger picture.
mhm. What I also find very unique about this movie is the movie had no script. Uh,
Yeah,
which is
Robert
very
Downey Jr.
interesting. They
just did
had an
that.
outline. Um, I find it very interesting too because it's like there's no script, and so they had this outline of what they wanted to do, and they it's such a
Really,
unique idea because
there
so
was
many
no
people are like,
cast or not cast. They made this movie with no one, absolutely no one. This movie was just no. Anyway, sorry. They didn't have a script.
So they had an outline. Maybe there's a few lines written out here and there, but most of it was kind of just
It was straight up just Robert Downey just did that.
uh, I guess kind of improv is the word, or like just like on the spot acting for a lot of it,
Huh.
which I find very interesting.
I never knew that.
Because it. I think it's so interesting because nowadays we always talk about how so many movies could be like, oh yeah, they just need a better script, like they
Yeah.
just need better writing. Yet this movie didn't
It
have
does.
that,
It
and
does
then
what it
turns
does
out to
well.
turn out to be very well. And
Yeah,
I wonder if that's part of the reason to why um, some of the relationships in the movie felt really look good.
because
Because
it was those actors bonding.
right, and because like even though like Pepper and Iron Man had a unique relationship, you could still sort of feel that in several of the scenes. I feel like,
Oh yeah, I was gonna
um,
say this when we're talking about the chest scene. There's a lot of scenes where it's very intimate, but it's also in Tony Stark's very dysfunctional way. Cause like
right.
he doesn't really have a decent concept of what it is to be intimate. It's more, you know, do this thing for me.
Hmm.
Oh wait, that was
Yeah.
weird. But yeah,
um,
it's definitely yeah, I can definitely see
no,
that.
I just find it fascinating.
That is
I just find it
that is
fascinating though
that
the
is
whole
very
idea
interesting.
of no script turned it into a very interesting thing because I literally just found this interview that Jeff Bridges did um, in 2009, December of 2009, and he was talking about it being like he was hesitant to do it, but he was like, you know what, I'm just going to think of this as like a 200 million student film. So he's like, okay, yeah, it could be fun to do.
And it was very, I mean, it was trying to set up something that had never really either been attempted or accomplished before, which was set up something bigger.
Right.
Huh. That's crazy. I'll have to read that article. Um,
Yeah.
I'll put
Yeah.
that.
So
I'll
very
and
fascinating. Now that you
if
just
you're
found that.
if you're
Uh,
interested in the article we're talking about with the Jeff Bridges interview, I will put that in the description.
Yeah, it's an old Gizmodo article, like I said, from 2009,
Yeah,
literally saying Jeff Bridges admits Iron Man movie had no
I
script,
just
and
showed
so
up and they told me to yell
he
at
took
this
the whole
guy.
thing from
That
him.
I mean, yeah. As I'm like
um,
going back and thinking about it, it almost makes sense. Like the this is the weirdest example of like a relationship building in the movie, but Yinsen and Tony was
oh,
very
that was a fantastic one.
it was fantastic. It was amazing. It was because it
Even though the
really
cave was
felt
only like,
it was
like the
like
cave sequence didn't last that long.
it was like 25 minutes,
I don't even
maybe,
know. I don't even
maybe.
think it was
That's
that long.
generous. I could be full of shit. It wasn't that long. It was a very I wouldn't say brief part of the movie, but it was self-contained. Um,
Yeah, yeah, it didn't take long. Like the movie covers a lot of ground for being your general, pretty
yeah,
much
because
2 hour
at the
movie.
time there wasn't 4 hour long MCU movies.
Or 4 hour long Snyder cuts, but yes.
We don't talk about. Well, I will not. I'm not
Actually,
covering
wait,
this.
was
I'm
it?
not watching the Snyder Cut again to cover it on this channel. I barely
Don't worry,
watched it
guys.
once.
We'll get it there after all the Marvel stuff.
Once we, I was gonna say we don't have to do all the Marvel stuff in a row. We could like this week we should do Batman Beyond or Begins. Why do I keep saying that? God damn it.
Batman Beyond.
Um.
I mean, I love that Batman Beyond movie, but anyway, besides the point.
Oh, Return of the Joker.
Yeah,
No, that movie's amazing. I grew up on that movie.
yeah, it's great.
Anyway, anyway, moving on.
Anyway,
Yeah,
about
this
this though,
movie
go
it
on.
Yinsen and Tony, it felt like they were actually bonding. Like it felt like it definitely it made you stop and be like, oh man, is this acting or are they actually bonding? And I think that's something that at least a lot of movies from the time I also don't uh, make it a point to watch movies from 2008, but it's very. You can tell that a lot of people are just acting for a paycheck. Um, in some cases, and this it just felt like, you know, Tony Stark feels, or Robert Downey Jr. feels like Tony Stark. You can believe. You look on the screen, you don't see Robert Downey Jr. pretending to be Iron Man. You see Iron Man. Um,
Yeah.
which I won't say is new because there were good movies before Iron Man, but it was definitely for a superhero movie. It was definitely groundbreaking.
It's kind of crazy because hold on, I'm looking at when something came out that year. Go
Yeah,
on. I'm trying to.
yeah. There were other movies that came out in 2008. You've never guessed, but there were other
Yeah,
movies
you're
in
talking about
2008.
groundbreaking movies. I'm trying to find the release date on. So what's crazy is Iron Man came out in May of 2008. We were talking about that being groundbreaking, and then 2 months later, you get an even bigger comic book movie,
What's that?
The Dark Knight.
Oh man, 2008 was a great movie, a great year for comic book movies. That's insane.
It's crazy to think
Um,
about that, and so
it is.
yeah,
Huh.
so huge for both Marvel and DC that year, and different reasons, right? And so
Oh
pretty
no,
great.
obviously. That is very interesting. Because, like, yeah, it really is just. Huh.
And not only did well, I'm looking at 2008 movies. A side tangent here
What?
is not only did 2008 begin the MCU, we also got the first Twilight movie that year.
Oh, never mind. 2008 was a terrible year for movies.
We also got the first Kung Fu Panda that year.
No, okay, hold on.
Uh,
No, I'm back to 2008 being a good movie. A year for movies.
we got Wally,
Huh.
Mamma Mia, Step Brothers,
Eh,
Tropic Thunder,
eh,
Horton
eh.
Hears a Who,
Tropic Thunder. Is that the one
Madagascar
where
2.
hold on. Tropic
Yes, I think this
Thunder.
is the one you're thinking of.
I really hope it's not the one I'm thinking of.
I
Okay,
think
well,
it is the one you're thinking of.
I see the controversy tab on Wikipedia. Hold on. Mm-hmm.
Speaking of superhero movies, Hancock came out that year.
Oh, the Will Smith one?
Yeah.
Huh. Okay, I'd like to say that if this is what it
Sure.
is what I'm thinking of. If you go to the Tropic Thunder Wikipedia page, the thing that makes Tropic Thunder interesting. Oh no, I found it. Uh, there actually is a section on the blackface. I was gonna say, is there just not? Did they not bring that up in the controversy? Was everyone just chill with that? They were not.
Uh,
There is.
I don't know. I haven't watched it, but I hear it's one of those things that like when you watch a movie, you understand it. But by today's standards, absolutely would
They
nothing
would
like that would
not.
ever happen
They
again.
could not make that in the year 2024. Who
Yeah.
made that movie? I'm curious. Whose idea was that?
Whose idea was that?
Who did this? It was
Uh,
distributed by DreamWorks and Paramount.
Paramount.
This this also came out after Iron Man. Iron Man came out in April. This came out in August. So in 2008, we went from Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man to Robert Downey Jr. as an African American man, which is very strange to think about. I'm glad I was 4 and not an avid moviegoer. Anyway, this is all besides the point. We're getting way off track.
Besides the point, Iron Man.
Iron Man's a
Robert
good
Downey
movie.
Jr. is a great actor.
I love it.
Uh,
I think for the start of the MCU, when you think of it, it's very easy to watch this movie and go, "This is the start of the MCU." But when you step back and go, "This is a good
mhm.
Iron Man," when you see it as just a single movie, self-contained, it's still really good. I mean, you
Yeah,
can
it
definitely
is.
take your when you take yourself out of the mindset of this is an MCU movie, it's still a really good movie. And there's some movies where like I watch it, and if it wasn't MCU, I don't think it would have been as popular. You know?
Yeah, for
And
sure.
I can name an example, but I'd rather keep my thoughts on this specific trilogy to when we get to it. So
All
just
right, we'll save it.
leave it at
Um,
that. I'll see you when we get to Spider-Man
leave it at
Homecoming.
that. Uh,
I have thoughts on them. Anyway, was there anything you didn't like about it?
uh, anything I didn't like about? I mean, I can't really think of anything. At least not anything big. Like maybe
Uh,
there's a nitpick or two, but even then, there's nothing that really comes to mind. Um,
Honestly, same. I don't look at this movie and go, oh, I don't
like
like this.
right, like it's I don't know. It's just special on both a bigger scale and a more personal scale. And like I said, I think it just sets the bar. And I don't think any movies that have really followed this sort of formula that established has done it better.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
And so
It
I absolutely
holds
love
up.
the movie. I did want to ask though, what's your thoughts on the character of Obadiah Stane though, the villain of the movie?
Oh, Obadiah is great. I think I kind of alluded to my feelings on Obadiah throughout the episode. He did his part marvelously. No pun intended. It felt like Jeff Bridges showed up to that film set and just started yelling at interns, and they were like, "How did he get on here? Also hire him."
Yeah, it was I think Jeff Bridges did a great job. He's a fantastic actor, and so I think he brought
Absolutely.
a lot to the movie,
He
which is
he
great.
also he also is a really good foil for Tony because you
Hmm.
see Tony and you see this man who experienced this flashpoint of getting kidnapped. That's obviously like the defining moment. They get to this moment
Right.
where he gets kidnapped. Tony Stark comes out better. Stain comes out worse, and it's just
Yep.
such a good. They counter each other so well because Tony is actively trying to improve the company and
Yep.
not um, he's trying to improve the company while Stain is actively like we just need to make it worse. We need to just make worse weapons. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
So I think that Jeff Bridges did a wonderful job. I genuinely do not have a single thought on Jeff Bridges' portrayal of Obadiah Stane that isn't damn. That's good.
Yeah, I think he did a great job of portraying the character.
Everyone in this movie has such impeccable chemistry.
Yeah, yeah, it's
Tony
great.
and Yinsen, Tony and Pepper, Obadiah and Pepper. The scene where they're talking in the office, which I know I skipped through most of it, but like the parts I did see, it genuinely felt tense. There was a thickness in the air. Um, and it just, I mean, the whole 300 million, the whole expensive student film part, he doesn't. It's obvious that he didn't let that affect his acting. He showed up
Yeah.
and he kicked ass, and I like him. I like him as an actor. I think I like him as an actor primarily because he did so well here.
Yeah, for sure. I
Um,
100% agree.
um, it was weird. This is such a like out of right field. It was weird not seeing Happy be bigger than he was. Like in the further movies, he has a much bigger role. It was weird not seeing that here.
I guess a little bit. I don't necessarily think about that.
Yeah, I mean, this is genuinely just like a random thought I had.
Sure.
Is just it's weird. It was just strange. I have nothing against it. I think what he does later is good. I like Happy Hogan as a character. It was just strange. I just wasn't expecting him to have like one point of dialogue.
Yeah.
That's it. I have nothing against it. I like the movie. Um,
Yeah.
is there anything else you had in mind to talk about?
Not really. Like I love the movie. It's such a fantastic start to the MCU and holds a special place in my heart. Everyone did their job very well,
Yeah,
and the backstory of knowing that in a way is kind of like a large experiment, and knowing that's a large experiment, it kind of like
they stuck their neck
it
out
show
on this one.
it it's that whole risk reward, right? Because that's what
No, I
makes so
absolutely
many things
agree.
bigger. It's like you can't have a massive success like this if you don't, especially what it turns into if you don't take the risk to do it, right?
I
Um,
fully agree.
that's why Star Wars got so big and stuff like that,
Yeah,
because of all the risks taken, and so it follows in that avenue of um,
something
being
big.
innovative in many ways and trying to be this risk and it working really well. And so it's just a fascinating background story on the movie and
I am
just a great
absolutely
movie to
with
go
you.
watch. It's like it's such a great, like, for me though, it's like such a great since I said it may be my most watched MCU movie, and so like at the same time it's kind of just like such a easy put on and watch movie for me as
Yeah,
well.
it's
Like I
something that
know
you
it
can just sit
so
down and
well.
watch it. And there's some MCU
Yeah,
movies, I'm not gonna lie, that I'm not looking forward to going back and rewatching.
this is
There's
true.
some that
Me
I'm
too.
like, I'm gonna sit there and just grit my teeth and try to get through it. And I think we
Right.
both know what movie I'm talking about. Oh man, that episode's gonna suck. It's gonna be
Gonna assume
20 minutes.
several or a few of them, but yeah,
When we get to the
we'll get
later
to it.
ones, I think the show is gonna be a lot more fun because it's not gonna be us sitting here going, "Yeah, I agree." I'm not saying we're gonna argue, but I think once we start disagreeing on stuff, it'll
Say,
be more
yeah,
fascinating to see how we differ on opinions.
this is true. This is true. I know on the later ones, our opinion does quite differ a bit, and
Yeah,
so it'll be interesting to see how that goes.
yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, we're friends. I don't think this series is gonna like. I don't think we're gonna
Exactly.
get to the end and be like friendship over. You do not agree with me on a movie.
Hey,
Um,
fuck you! No, fuck you!
and just as a before we get into the last part of the episode, I will say that um don't watch this series if you're planning on going into my comments and being like, "You're wrong. Iron Man was terrible," because I don't care. I like movies. At the end of the day, these are just movies. You go and you watch them and you have fun, and that's it.
At the end of the day, we're all fans of it, right?
At the
And
at the end of the day, you're
we
going to
we
go
all
see the
have.
new one. We both know you're
Unless
gonna
it's the
go see it.
Marvels, because we saw how those box office numbers were. But anyway,
I still haven't watched it.
Uh,
Yeah, no. Okay.
my
This
point.
yeah. Um, okay. So quick story about this last thing that's gonna continue throughout the series is I want to say it was either it was this morning when I texted you, hey, don't remember that we're doing shit. Yeah, it was today.
Yeah.
Uh, so the plan is we're gonna make a tier list of all the movies. I actually have the website pulled up right now. Um, I'm actually gonna DM you where I would put this movie, and we can do a little bit of a discussion if you want to send me your ranking. I put that's the rankings from top to bottom.
Yes, I would agree with that.
Okay, cool. Okay, cool. We'll discuss that in a second. But so we're gonna rank them. We're gonna make a tier list. We were vaguely talking this morning, and he was like, and Spencer DMs me like, um, I think that we should like rank these. And I'm like, you won't believe this, but that was already the plan. It was
Yeah.
just a fun moment of like, yeah, no, we're on the same page. I'm pretty excited for this
Yes. Yeah.
series.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. I mean, so far it is As far as like a number ranking goes, like it's the
What's
top
up?
and the last at the same time. But
Yeah.
that won't be for long.
Once we start watching the other movies, it'll be better.
Once you start watching the others, it'll be
Once
interesting.
once we're not on episode 1.
Which we're not on episode 1. Yeah,
Because I mean, yeah.
I'm gonna have to. I'll make a personal note here on my phone and start,
Yeah.
ranking them all as we go.
Yeah. I don't play. I obviously this time I watched it today before we recorded. That's kind of my plan.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna like watch it
Yeah.
throughout the week or anything. But okay, so our rankings. This is just how I rank things. I'm a huge dork and I really like tier lists and stuff. I don't know why, I just do. Also, I think I messed that one up. I think I used the wrong poster. I absolutely did. That's Whiplash. God damn it. That's the next movie. So the rankings are as follows. I'm putting them up on the stream. Oh wait, I didn't save the image.
Cool.
Save. Rankings. So we have, and this is just my general rule of thumb when it comes to rankings. We have S being supreme, super, fantastic. That one's probably not as accurate, but S is going to be the top. A,
Right.
solid, awesome, amazing. Still, not the best of the best. I do have some S's, but also A isn't bad. B, kind of getting into like mid territory, but a positive mid.
Well, I think B is still solid, right?
B is
B is still a
solid.
solid movie.
Yeah.
Like here's how I kind of look at it: is S is like amazing, top tier. A, you're still great. B, solid. C, fine. It passes the test, D,
yeah. Fail.
blah. Like
Yeah. D is
you just barely missed the test, but like it's still watchable, I guess, right?
I'd
Not
watch
that
it
great.
if I had to.
F, you just utter suck.
Not great. Not good at all.
Right.
The way I see it is that S and A are like good, B and C are the mid, kind of neutral, D and F are just not great. I also agree with your
Sure.
assessment, but also mid isn't necessarily, it doesn't mean bad. I think too many people use mid to mean bad. To me, it's just,
That's the thing, right?
Because like B for me is like, there are times on like a rainy Thursday where I'll be like, let's watch this. I like this movie.
Right.
I'd say B is like,
some of those are like enjoyable watches too. I mean, depending on what it is.
I enjoy them. I just wouldn't put them higher. C is my kind of neutral. Like, okay, whatever. This movie exists. Cool. Good for it. But also that, I mean, I'd still rather watch a C movie than a D movie.
Yeah.
And then obviously, D movie is like, I guess. I mean,
I guess.
I won't actively avoid watching it. But, like, if you come to me and you're like, hey, you want to watch this? I'll go, really? You want to watch that? Like, on purpose?
Purpose?
That's weird. And then F is like, no, I do not want to watch this.
Absolutely not.
Thor Dark World, sorry.
Oh.
We both know. Anyway, so I think we definitely agree on this. Iron Man is an A. Iron Man gets an A for me. I mean, it's good. It's a solid movie. I have nothing against it. It's fun. I would definitely. I'm not gonna say anytime soon, but I definitely sit down and watch this just for a good movie.
Absolutely.
I mean, there's not really much to discuss. I think once we get to the parts where we disagree on where the movies go, like drastically.
Yes.
Because there are some movies I think I will put it like an S, and you'll just be like, no, F minus.
It'll
But
be very interesting. I'm especially really looking forward to next episode. I think that'll be very interesting.
yeah, next episode is a movie that I haven't seen in a while. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm
I mean,
very interested on your opinion on it, and so it's going to be very.
we'll
I'm
definitely
looking
see.
forward to it.
Anyway, with that being said, first episode wrapped up. Awesome. This is a good
There we
one.
go.
Um, good discussion. I, you know, little boring, but also it's the first episode. We both like this movie. It'll be more interesting when we disagree. Um, I mean, yeah, Iron Man. It's a good movie. I'm pretty excited for the rest of this series. Uh, this went as well as I expected it to. I mean, what else can
I'm
I
not sure if
say?
that's a good or a bad thing, but
It's a good thing.
yeah.
This went. I
Okay.
didn't expect anything bad. Yeah, I expected you to
Okay.
hate
I
it,
was
and then we were gonna have
just
a
making sure.
fight over a Steam code of Midnight Suns. Go watch the Dingus Den 100 sub special. Um, oh yeah,
Absolutely. Need to get you back on
awesome.
there sometime.
Oh, absolutely. I will definitely. I'm kind of in a weird situation on recording, but I definitely would like to start spreading my wings, so to speak, trying to not be contained to my own little microcosm.
Yeah.
But yeah, good having you on. I'm pretty excited to see you. I think you're about to be a
Absolutely.
staple on the channel. Um, as you know, Blue has deceased. This is the channel it's going to be on. Um, hit subscribe if you like MCU content, or if you just want to see more uh, fun stuff. If you want to see more of Spencer, he is at the Dingus Den on YouTube and Red Shirt
Yep.
Remastered on Twitch, where he is part of
Twitch
the
and YouTube as
Twitch
well.
and
We do
YouTube.
we do a podcast. Trying to do it every other week on YouTube where we talk about
Yeah,
news
that's
stuff that
the
comes
Rambling
out.
Red Shirts, right?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. So go check that out.
So
Spencer's a
and
good
we
friend of
also do
mine.
some.
Oh,
Yeah,
you
we
also
do
do
some.
some.
We've done some videos on red shirts as well. We just did a review and breakdown of Masters of the Universe Revolution.
You did. That's true.
We
I gotta
did,
watch that.
and
Uh,
definitely worth
Masters of
watching.
the
That's a
Universe
show
on
that's definitely worth
Netflix.
watching.
Yeah, I missed the show.
Watch the show before our review.
Yeah, no, that's the
But but yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, check me out here, and also Blue has the Seats on Twitch. I'm not streaming, but go follow anyway. Check out Spencer Dingus Den on YouTube, as well as Red Shirt Remastered on both Twitch and YouTube. I'll have those links in the description. Um, yeah, good stuff. Next week we're gonna be doing the Incredible Hulk, which
Incredible Hulk.
is something I'm pretty I have thoughts on Hulk. So yeah, um, I'm hoping to get this out weekly.
Oh, I have thoughts on Hulk too, but
Hopefully, there are similar thoughts. We
we'll
start
see.
beefing in the second episode. I am wanting to get this out weekly if things change. I mean, obviously, there's not much I can do, but hopefully, we'll be here next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Anything you want to say before we end the episode, Spencer?
No, see you all next time.
See you next time. And thank you for watching.